everyone, it's Holly Marie King, and we are back with Irae, Amentes. Woo! We're finally in chapter 2. Didn't mean to skip it, but I accidentally skipped it, but it's okay. It was literally just saying where we are. We're in chapter 2. Xenophobia, whatever. And there are now 7 decapitated people around. So the death toll is rising. Alright. Let's get started, folks. On December 4th, around 6:30 a.m., an employee of a diner located on the Suwahara City bypass discovered local salaryman Masayuki Shibuya, 28, and his friend and coworker Mitsunori Oda, 28, collapsed in the diner parking lot. He notified the police. As both victims were decapitated, the Suwahara City Police Department has ruled this the work of the serial killer currently terrorizing Suwahara City. The police have issued a statement expressing their continued intent to pursue the investigation. Additionally, it seems as if the killings so far have been initiated at random, as investigators have been unable to identify any shared traits amongst the victims. A modern-day Jack the Ripper, the shadow of fear covering Suwahara City. The ongoing Suwahara City serial murder case that started on December 1st has claimed 7 victims so far. A crime of this scale and level of depravity is unheard of in post-war Japan. Though the criminal's M.O. resembles that of the prototypical serial killer frequently seen in Western society, expert opinions remain divided as the victims' bodies show no signs of sexual mutilation. Chaos in the streets, Suwahara City shooting incident. On December 2nd, around 1 p.m., a scuffle broke out among several boys in Marumamachi, the city's largest downtown district. Officer Takeo Ota, 31, was shot by one of the youth involved upon arriving at the scene. Officer Ota survived the incident, but is currently hospitalized. Criminal acts by juveniles have been on the rise in Suwahara City over the past few months. It would behoove the police to investigate the weapon employed in this incident and its means of acquisition. Didn't take me long to get my fill of news for the day. The teachers had given up on trying to teach today, abandoning most classes and telling us to study on our own. This provided the perfect opportunity for me to skip out on the roof, but the faculty was probably in the midst of a heated debate right around now. In other words, they were most likely discussing whether or not to close the school until the serial murder case blew over. It wasn't hard to imagine that they were getting complaints from parents left and right, and it's not like the students themselves felt much differently. Today, we were looking at less than a 70% attendance rate. We were past the point where you could just ignore things and keep teaching classes. And of course, none of the students actually attending were interested in the whole self-study idea. The classrooms were little more than an offline stage for the sort of debates people were having about the subject on message boards. Considering how many people were getting fed up with the whole thing and just heading home entirely, I was a model student by comparison. You jammed a bunch of teenagers on edge into a box all day like this and something was gonna give eventually. I really would have preferred to hit the road myself before any trouble arose, but I'd never hear the end of it from Kasumi, so I decided to just escape to the roof instead. Though to be honest, there was another more pressing reason I had for wanting to be alone. I sighed and slunk down against the water tower. I've been having the same dream every night now, the same developments every time, culminating in my decapitation by a guillotine. Every time I woke up from it, there had been a report of a new murder in the city. I still couldn't figure out who that girl was, even though we'd never had anything resembling conversation. I couldn't get those plaintive eyes and that song of hers out of my head. The guillotine, the girl, my decapitation, head rolling on the ground, bloody bodies with their heads severed. I couldn't help feeling that this was some sort of vicious cycle. No. Let's move this up. Now that that's changed. With my dreams invading reality and reality in turn affecting my dreams, growing worse by the day, why was this happening? I could think of 3 hypotheses that seemed plausible. Number 1. It was all just a coincidence, random noise that only seemed to be formatting a pattern. This was the most realistic answer. Number 2, I had psychic powers and my dreams were prophetic. I could predict the deaths of those around me. Such people did exist, according to my knowledge. Number 3, the sort of cliche plot you see in mystery novels and the like. In other words, I'm the murderer? No way in hell. I banged my head against the water tower in an attempt to stave off that line of thought. Murder was by definition a destructive act. There was nothing to be gained from going around killing other people. I tried to force myself to think about it from a rational standpoint. All that had happened was a few strangers dying, right? I wasn't the sort of guy to get worked up over something so trivial. My thoughts threatened to get away from me and spiral into an endless pit unless I kept repeating that with enough conviction to piss even myself off. I couldn't afford to be concerned with the morality of my outlook on the situation. Continuing to fret about things would just dig me a deeper hole. If I wanted to convince myself that I was a normal person, then ignoring all this shit was my best course of action. Nothing that a normal person would react like that to the current situation, of course. Suddenly the bell rang, interrupting my little reverie. It seemed that fourth period had already ended. If the faculty ended up deciding to close the school after all, the day's classes would likely end now. There would probably be a school-wide broadcast soon enough. Sure enough, a voice emerged from the intercom. About 5 minutes later, the contents of the broadcast, however, were not what I had expected. I couldn't believe my ears at first, but I supposed it was an understandable position. Adults really had it rough. Another 5 minutes passed. I lay down on the ground and stretched out. Phew! So you really were here. Much like the school broadcast, I had expected this to occur, but not to play out exactly in the way it did. You know, I've been thinking this for a while, but you hate school, don't you? Kasumi stared down at me with an exasperated look on her face. Fuji just likes annoying things. Like getting scolded, things like that. But what got me was that Himura was there with her, her tongue as pointed as ever. I looked up at the two of them, scratching my head. Well then, blue and white? Huh? I am the perfect angle, you see. Ah! Ah! I zoomed in with my phone's camera, driven by a sense of duty. Lech. The hell are you doing, you perv? Himura had the ladylike decency to conceal herself, but Kasumi gave me even more of an eyeful as she launched a kick directly at my face, which I dodged neatly. It's your fault for standing with your legs spread wide open in front of someone lying on the ground, you know. That doesn't make it okay to... She kept mumbling unintelligibly. I could only make out a few words here and there, like, you don't need to report on the colors. Come on, take this and cheer up, Miss Blue. Wow, Blue, you sure are cheap. One piece of caramel is all it takes. Rude! I'm not a cheap woman! Come on, don't tease her, Fuji. You calm down too, Miss Blue. Ray, are you trying to make fun of me here? What's she talking about, Fuji? Who knows? I will say I'd like her to be as open and forgiving as the sky above, though. It is Blue, after all. Indeed. Aha! Miss Blue managed to plaster a smile on her face even as her temples twitched. How talented. Anyway, enough with the meaningless digression. Meaningless? Well, maybe they wouldn't be so meaningless if they were see-through, featured some lame, or had an easy access window built in. You gotta think big to win big. Himura laid her hand on Kasumi's shoulder. A fascinating method of resolving the situation, to be sure, but effective in the sense that it made the other party feel like washing their hands of the whole thing. Forget it. I have a bit of a headache now. Like I said, you won't become a star with that sort of attitude. And who said I was interested in becoming a star via my choice of underwear? And while we're at it, delete that photo, you peep shot shooter. Oh, I'm trembling. I'm shaking. Oh, jeez, what's up with you guys? I could see that this would only end up going in circles, so I decided to let Kasumi off the hook for now. After that, Kasumi confiscated my phone and deleted all of the data on it in a record 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, and thanks here. That's it for Irae Amentes today. We'll do it again soon. I promise. I am not abandoning this, and I will be reading it more often than I have in the past, so we'll be going through it a little bit faster. I have other ones that I'm going to be reading as well, so who knows which one's going to be next. They're just going to keep popping up in order until they're done, so yay! But yeah. If you like this, please leave a like before you go. I don't know what that is. If you know someone who might be interested, please give it a share. If you want more of this content, there will be more at least every other Monday, things are not working out as well as I'd hoped they would. But it will be here on a Monday of some sort. I promise. If you hated it, you know, I've been doing this one for a while now, so, you know, you're a little bit far into the series now, and maybe you should have stopped while you were ahead, huh? Yeah, okay. But as always, hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!